What's up guys, Nick here from CPAP Reviews. Thanks for tuning into this video series that I'm going to do on the travel CPAP machines. Firstly, I'd just like to give a big thumbs up to you all for watching the video, subscribing to my YouTube channel, and also commenting, giving me your feedback. It's greatly appreciated, and in return I'll continue to spend the time to give you some tips, tricks, insights into the world of CPAP. It can be a little bit confusing at times. By no means the Yoda of the CPAP world, but I do have a bit of an understanding on a lot of things, so I'll do my best to try and break it all down into layman's terms so that you can get the best out of your CPAP therapy. I'm going to do a little video series now on the travel CPAPs. And I'm going to start with the ResMed AirMini, which is the latest travel machine released by ResMed. I'm going to do that in a two-part series. One, just on the machine itself, the features, just give you a bit of an insight into it. And then two, I'll give you a close-up of their app, talk you through how to use that app, and maybe give you a little bit of a insight into how to use the app in a way that you might not have been shown. All right, after that, what I'm going to do is, I have done some other tutorials on other CPAP machines, but I'll just get them out here in front of me and I'll be able to show you them all together so you can see what they are. I'll quickly run through the pricing, the weight of the machines, the noise of the machines, and maybe just a couple of the features of the machines. That way, you got a good understanding of all the machines, and if you wanted to get one, then you can it might help you just make up your own mind as to which way you want to go. With which brand you want to choose. All right, so look, let's have a look at the AirMini. There's been a lot of hype around this machine. Whenever ResMed does anything, there's always a fair bit of hype around it, but this is their first venture into the travel CPAP market, and obviously, so there's been a bit of excitement around it. So let's have a bit of a sticky beak at it. I'll give you a bit of a pan around of the machine itself, a little bit of an up close and personal. Right, so you've got your intake there, you can see where the tube goes in, and the power cord going in there as well. There's your front, you've got your power button and your little Bluetooth button, no screen on this machine, and then the back of the machine. Alright, so that's the unit there, just as I guess a size comparison. You can have a look at my iPhone there. Right, and this is also in comparison with another small travel machine, the Z1. So you can sort of the Z1 filter cap's actually quite big. If you sort of take that off, I mean obviously you do need a filter. You can kind of see they're actually very, very similar there. All right. So I'm not sure why they made that filter cap so big. It would have obviously made it a little bit smaller. But this is the smallest CPAP machine in the world. It's not actually the lightest CPAP machine in the world. When I put this on the scales there, it comes down at 299 grams, just the machine. Whereas the Z1 itself comes in at 297. So a couple of grams doesn't really mean a lot, does it? But a couple of grams lighter. But when you actually add the power supply, so that's your power block to run the machine, it takes the ResMed AirMini up to 501 grams. The Z1 power supply is a little bit heavier and takes it up to 545 grams. So a difference of 44 grams when we're talking about machine weight plus the power supply used to run the machine as well. Difference of 45 grams between the two. All right, that's just a little bit of knowledge for you, and not a whole lot difference there in the actual size of the unit. It's pretty much the same. Okay, a little bit smaller on the ResMed AirMini. So when it comes to the AirMini, it comes with a ResMed mask, and you can either get a P10, which is the nasal pillow one, an N20, or an F20. Now these masks that come with are the only masks that can be used with the ResMed AirMini. You can't use a Philips or a Fisher & Paykel or any other mask that you've got. You are restricted to those three varieties. And the reason being is the actual tubing, and this is the first time it's ever been done, but the tubing of the AirMini is different than all the other tubing in the sense that normally every tube has a standard 22mm diameter end that connects to any mask. What they've done with this actual tubing itself, you can see they've created this connector, and that connector is used to store what they call a HME filter, or a heat moisture exchange filter. And the heat moisture exchange filters are what provide humidity in the air. So because they don't have a standard humidity chamber with the water and everything, they have these little filters, and I'll show you sort of what they look like. There's a little close-up. So these little heat moisture exchange filters. They have two varieties. They call them Humidi X and Humidi X Plus. They basically just fit into this little part in the tubing. You just sort of screw it in. And then the mask end also has something that's not normal. And that connects to the top like that. So you sort of click that on as well. And then you end up with that's your sort of tube then. Right, it's 15mm tube with that connector where you put your Humidi X, and then you've got your mask onto that. This is the nasal pillow one, the P10, but you can also get the nasal one, which is the N20, or the F20, which is your full mask. But those are your three masks that you can use with the machine, and when you buy it, you generally get that mask included in the price. You can choose one or the other, pretty much. I'm sure you could buy extra if you needed to. And that just clicks in there. So that's your sort of setup there. Now with the Humidi X and the Humidi X Plus, they're what's called heat moisture exchange filters, and the heat moisture exchange filters actually use the heat and the moisture from your own breathing. So as you exhale, the little ridges in the filter collect the heat and moisture from your own breath, and then when you inhale, it basically recycles that. So then the heat moisture that was trapped in that filter actually then gets sucked back in again, providing the humidity in the air. So your Humidi X is your standard one, and then you've got your Humidi X Plus, which is basically just a more advanced one, so it'll provide a higher level of humidity. So that might be used in places where there's really low humidity, like on a plane or up in high mountains and things like that, okay? But it'll just provide a bit of extra humidity, and they should be replaced every 30 days. So if you're wanting to use these little Humidi X HME filters, every 30 days you'll need to replace them because they stop working efficiently. So that's sort of your setup there. Your machine, like, it's a really light little portable setup. But you obviously, like I just said, you do have that restriction in that you have to use one of those three masks. So if you're really comfortable with your Dreamwear mask or your simplest full face mask, you're not going to be actually able to connect to this machine yet. Maybe someone will bring out an adapter or something in future, but at the moment, those three masks. So let's talk about some of the features of the machine itself. The machine has Bluetooth capability, which means it can connect to this app they have, which is called the AirMini app, which you can download from the Google Play or the App Store. I'll put links in the bottom of the comment in the description there, so you can download it if you want to. The app enables you to change the comfort settings of the machine. Because it doesn't have a screen, you can't really change anything on it. All you can really do is turn it on and off, and turn the Bluetooth on and off. But apart from that, if you want to change any of the comfort settings, you do require a smartphone that has the capability of using apps. So if you've got an old Nokia 3210, you might be struggling a bit with this machine. I know my old man would definitely be struggling with it. So that app's really great. You can change the comfort settings. It'll also log all your data and things like that. It'll like everyone's going to this app thing now. They're all getting up with technology. So that's your app. The comfort settings you can change. It has what's called APR, which is your expiry pressure relief. So as you're breathing out, it will reduce the pressure of the machine's reduce the pressure. Just making it easy to breathe, basically. Let's not get too technical, hey. It has automatic start and stop, which means that you can put your mask on, start breathing, the machine will start up, take your mask off, stop breathing, and then the machine will stop. So automatic start and stop. It has an automatic ramp, which can detect sleep detection onset. So what that means is the machine itself will stay very nice and low in pressure until you fall asleep. Once you've fallen asleep, then the machine will then adjust higher to control your sleep apnea. You can run it in CPAP mode or auto mode, but you can't just get a fixed pressure machine. You can only really get the automatic one and then run it in either fixed pressure or auto mode, with probably 99% of people running it in automatic mode. They're the sort of main features that you have there. Obviously, the reasons you get one would be clearly, if you're right into your ResMed stuff and you're already using a ResMed mask and you've got a ResMed machine at home, but you just want something that's really small and portable because you're traveling around a lot. Fantastic. That's probably going to be for you. The current AirSense 10 unit, it's not a huge amount bigger. But at the same time, like if you are just frequently going through airports or you are frequently on the move, a travel machine might be something you'd look at. Currently speaking, there is no battery option with the machine, but they are going to build a battery system for it. You've got a travel machine, you need a battery. It's just part of it. So I don't know when that's going to happen. I think later on this year, they'll be releasing their battery option. The voltage itself, I haven't actually checked. Give us 1 second. It's a 24-volt machine. So they might have a DC converter as well that they might provide with you. You might be able to get it later on. So positives I've written down, small CPAP, so size. It's got some really nice comfort features. It's got the app, the Bluetooth, the Humidity X, which is lasting 30 days. These I'm not sure how good they are, to be honest, but knowing ResMed, I'm sure they're pretty good. So the Humidity X and Humidity X Plus, providing that heat moisture exchange is great. The negatives I've got here, price. And I'm talking retail here. So retail in Australia, $2,100 with mask. Okay, so they will give you with the mask, which is handy. But the majority of people with CPAP will already have a mask, so you're not really getting that mask for free because you generally have your own mask anyway. So $2,100. She's a very ResMed-ish RRP. No screen, so if you're someone who's not great with smartphones and things like that, not having a screen where you can just change settings on the actual machine itself could be an issue for you. And then, like I said, the ResMed masks, the 3 masks that you have available to use with it. ResMed do make quality masks, but saying that, not every ResMed mask is suitable for every person, so you might have to, just because, if you're using a full face mask that you're really comfortable with, you might not be comfortable with their F20 mask, even though it is a good mask. So they're my negatives that I've found. So some really good positives there and some negatives. My advice is, if you got loads of money to splash around and you are frequently traveling and you think that having that extra weight difference between whatever you're using now, an AirSense 10, to this, if you got that money, so be it. Get one. Why not, hey? If you don't have that much money, there are other options there. If you're really looking to get a travel machine and you really want that portability factor, there are other options at a much lower RRP that will do pretty much the same thing. All right, so that's my Nico recommendation for you. One thing I haven't said anything about yet, which is important, is noise. the travel machines, they're all a little bit noisier than your standard full-size machines. I've talked about it before. They've got little motors. They have to run at a higher RPM to provide that pressure. You really notice the difference when you get up into those high level ranges. So you're 15, 16, 17 and above, even probably 13 and above. You do start to notice a little bit. If you're 60 years and older, you're probably not going to notice it that much, probably because you're probably deaf anyway, let's be honest. You know, when's the last time you heard your missus comment to you from the kitchen when you're watching TV? Let's be honest, we just ignore that. So if you're a bit older, don't worry too much about the noise. If you're sort of 40 years old or something around my age, you'll probably notice it a little bit more. I've slept with all of them now. I personally didn't notice it too much. You know, I was sleeping with them on 10 centimeters. I thought they were reasonably good. I just did a sound test. So I've got a decibel meter here. It's really convenient, this, just because when the actual manufacturers are doing their sound tests, I'm probably waffling on a bit here, so just press the stop button, go and get a cup of coffee if you want to. When the manufacturers do the decibel tests, they do it in a really strange way that gives what I think is a very misleading representation of the decibel levels. So they do it in this really strange environment where they don't actually have someone breathing on the tube. They basically plug the end up, turn it on. Now, when you just don't have anyone breathing on the machines, you get a completely different noise level than you do when you actually got someone breathing on the device. So you'll read decibel levels like 26 and 28 and 29, like it's jargon at the end of the day, because if I turn this thing on here and we're in a pretty quiet room, just the ambient volume just in this quiet room is 30 decibels. So what they're essentially saying is the noise of the machines is quieter than just the ambient decibel level, which we all know is not correct. So this gives you a much better indication of what actually is the decibel level. And if I hit the max there, it tells you where it's going up to. So I've got the ResMed AirMini here. I've got their P10 mask, which is a quiet mask. I've got it set to 10. It's going to start at 10. I'm going to put it on. We're going to have a look at what the decibel level is, and then later on I can compare it to the other ones for you. Right. It's not 76.5, just because I bumped it. It was 59. Alright, so it's 59 decibels on 10 centimeters, which are P10. It's accurate. That's sort of the max level it was going. It was going from 56 to 59. I was breathing nice and steadily, you know, just being normal. That's your level, okay? 59 decibels on 10 centimeters. If you go up higher in the pressure, it's going to get a little bit higher. If you go down lower, it's going to get a bit lower, but that's a good middle of the range, 10 centimeters. So you have that value there for your understanding, and you probably heard it then as well. It's not that noisy, all right? Some people are a bit precious, so be it, but they give you like a 30-day money-back guarantee with this thing anyway, so you can actually buy it, try it out for your life, you know, go for your life, try it out, and then if you find it too noisy, you can always, you know, hand it back and get your money back. Alright, so that's part one, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to. It doesn't cost you anything, and you'll just get updates when I post them. Comment below if you want to give me some feedback, preferably good. Not a massive fan of negative feedback when I'm doing stuff for free. Yeah, all the best with your CPAP journey. Hope it's all going well for you. Check out the description of this video if you want for links to. I'll put in a user guide. I'll put in the apps and some other stuff, maybe where you can buy them at a good price. Take care. All the best. And here's looking forward to The AFL finals that are coming up. Hope your teams are in the finals. We've got Richmond, we've got a few other Melbourne teams in there. Doesn't look like a Melbourne team's going to win, but Richmond might be up there, and Geelong might get there as well. So fingers crossed for a Victorian team to get up. All right, cheers, bye.